instead of just painting it a dull gray or tan like it is now, we want to go ahead and do a public art project. And he said, I'm not sure how to do that, but I did know people who do this. And so I called Tom Stevens. I said, I know you've got the paint project. Would you be able to do something to this scope? And he said, we haven't, but we can. We started talking about how to pull all that together. And Center for Neighborhoods deserves tremendous credit for the paint project that they've designed. They got community folks together. With our help, we called different folks from the community and said, and the McMahons came out. We had members of the Hikes Hunsinger family, members of the Business Association, the fire department, community leaders that I knew from growing up. And we got all those folks together in a room and said, if we were going to do art, what would it look like? And so they came up with some ideas. And then the Center for Neighborhoods brought artists in and said, here's what the folks would like to see. How would you do it? And then several artists offered renderings, and we went through and scored them. And Liz Richter's is the rendering that we really appreciated and loved the most. And man, I tell you, they were beautiful on paper, but they were nothing compared to what's here. So Liz has done a great job. So I just want to say thanks to all of the folks that we called and that were kind enough to help and participate. It's great seeing so many of you out here and knowing that so many of you grew up out here as I did. We're joined also this morning by Councilwoman Vicki Welch. So Vicki, if you'll just say hello. Vicki represents District 13 and is out towards Fairdale and has been very supportive. Vicki's been very supportive of the Center for Neighborhoods. And so when we support organizations like this one, it makes these kinds of things possible. So again, thanks to all that the Center for Neighborhoods does. Thanks to Liz for the work that she's done. And if you get a chance to see David Nickley's, pat him on the back and tell him thanks for being a real community-oriented business person who supports so much of what we do. And as Tom pointed out already, Starbucks has been wonderful. Taco Bell's been great. We've met there a couple times before. They've been very, very kind to us, so make sure you express your gratitude. And again, Baskin-Robbins has ice cream for us today. Once you taste it and realize how delicious it is, make sure you stop in the next couple of weeks and thank them as well.
We could not do this without valuable community partners. The schools that have been involved, and I'm sure Liz will share some about that, property owners and business owners who really believe in giving back to their community. This took a lot longer to paint than a typical contractor painting a gray wall. But I think ultimately it was absolutely worth it. But we could not do that without the partnership of partners like Nickley's Development and entities like that. Hikes Point, Dage's Hikes Point Paint and Wallpaper has been fantastic. Arts Rental provided discounts on the scissor lift necessary to reach these kind of heights. This really was a project of large scale. And so all those partners coming together to really fund a project like this for something for the community is truly invaluable. And for us as an organization, this has been a transformational project as well. So there's folks here from Louisville Visual Art Association. Louisville Visual Art, we kind of birthed a new partnership and relationship out of this project. And Liz will share more about kind of their involvement. But we really, last night we got a chance to launch the new mural art program, or MAP, here in Louisville. And this was really a big part of that pitch of how do you draw artists, community, support organizations, businesses together to really transform communities in a powerful and visual way. So we're excited for that partnership. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over. I cannot say enough. I know there's a ton of great muralists in this town and a lot of great artists, and some we don't even know about yet. There's not one that I would work with more than anybody else than Liz Richter right now. Liz has been absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to turn it over to Liz so she can kind of share kind of her vision and the process, and then we'll officially dedicate the mural and just celebrate together. So Liz?
Hi, first of all, thank you all so much for coming out and just showing your support for public art. It's just such an important thing for the city, and this is a incredibly exciting time for public art in Louisville, and as someone who's an art advocate and educator, it's a great time to get to be a part of what's happening. So this project was one that was personally challenging just because of the scale, but as an artist you don't often get the chance to work on something this large, and so I wanted to rise to the occasion. I'm a little bit of a history buff. my family publishes history books, so I was interested in learning more about Hikes Point and the area and the local history. And as I sort of dug deep, I realized that this is a very strong community that is incredibly proud of their history and what has happened in the last 200 years. So I got really passionate about the project, and as some of my interns will tell you, it grew in scale as we were working. And I don't think any of us could have really known how much and how detailed it would have ended up being, but I'm so grateful for so many people that were partners in this project. First, David and Charlie Nickley's and Nickley's Development were a huge support in loaning us a space for us to work out of. They gave us a rental room that we used to keep all of our supplies in, and even feeding babies in occasionally. And it was just such a amazing blessing to have a space to work in throughout the process of this. Also, Kevin Kramer, the local councilman, was a huge support in many different ways in his office. Center for Neighborhoods, Tom and Isabella were awesome. They did everything behind the scenes, helping through the call to artists and just giving me advice and handling the media for the project. And then Louisville Visual Art came in and just really supported this project and advocated for me as an artist, and everything from loaning me a projector at some point to organizing our call for interns, which ended up being one of the best parts of this project, was working one-on-one with our two interns, Michelle and Zara, who were talented artists in their own right, and got to do this as working one-on-one with me throughout the whole process. And I have left this knowing that both of them will go on and do amazing things in their own right, and now they have something ridiculously large to put in their portfolio as well. So I'm so grateful to them. Also for Sarah for the photography. She took amazing photography throughout the process, and for helping us organize volunteers. I also want to thank Hikes Point Paint. Tommy was our advisor on what materials to use and what to treat the wall with beforehand. That was a great participation. And the local businesses, the Starbucks baristas and the Taco Bell employees were incredibly supportive, bringing us drinks and just words of encouragement throughout the process in the day in, day out grind where we were pulling long hours in the rain or in incredibly hot weather. We kind of got the whole gamut. Couple other individuals, Shaylin Meadows of Meadow Arts and Photography. She's a local photographer who contributed in a lot of different ways. She went into a couple of the local elementary schools and took some photos, some of which ended up being the portraits that you see at the top. So thankful for her for contributing in that way. My husband Corey obviously was a huge support, and my mother-in-law I had a baby right before this project started, and she was vital because she was my child care, bringing the baby in to let me feed him as I came down from the lift. So it's pretty incredible from a village, takes a village sort of concept. It was great. We had 96 volunteers total work on the project, which is amazing. 46 of those were students. We had 4 apprentices, Eric D. Almeida Regueras, Nora Crafton, Abby Just, and Hannah Hart. We had 118 total volunteer hours for this project, with groups including Wagner High School, Presentation Academy, Ascension Elementary, a homeschool group, Louisville Visual Art, and the Women's League volunteers as well. So individual volunteers, I wanted to recognize them too, because there's a lot of big partners, but it's those people that came and worked in the hot sun that, I feel like deserve recognition as well, because it's not just the work that they put in, it's the feet on the ground support of showing like how important it is for projects like this to happen in the city. So Haley Pilcher, Crystal Bronson, Ashley Hadley, Caitlin Vitru, Catherine Reed, Tyler Sexton, Kyle Rarig, Kaylee Hogg, Genevieve Montgomery, Sarah Bullock, Sergio D. Armedia Rodriguez, Alan Cox, Bree Bowers, Laura Corkum, Christine Feltz, and Laura Sims Stewart. Thank you guys so much. Also, a huge thank you to James Cox of JC Painting, who was my painting assistant during this project. His help and advice and setting up scaffolding and all sorts of just behind the scenes things that he did to help us out was also huge. So thank you so much. This would not have happened without this sort of insane collaboration that we saw for the project, and I'm incredibly grateful.
So the last thing I would say is another partner that we haven't yet mentioned is Sarah Lindgren and the Commission on Public Art with Louisville Metro Government. You know, we've been doing paint projects about 8 or 9 years now. We started talking about the launch and map, the mural art program with Louisville Visual Art, but then we said we have no way to curate, or we haven't really captured all the history and all the projects that we've done over the years, and necessarily in the best way. And so through Louisville Metro government, we started talking to them, and the Commission on Public Art is now actually going to retain all of our paint projects from the past. We can provide files to them. You'll be able to do an entire kind of visual tour of this on the Commission on Public Art's website. So through other partners like that, it's really great to be able to kind of build that relationship and really create this not just for Hikes Point now, but for the entire Louisville metro area through that partnership. So wanted to present the official dedication plaque with Councilman Kramer, Nickley's Development, and Liz Richter. It also recognizes Louisville Visual Art interns, Michelle Montgomery and Zara Goldberg. Commissioned by David Nickley's of Nickley's Development and Councilman Kevin Kramer, Metro Council District 11. And I'll quickly just read the artist statement. So the artist chose the landmark clock at the corner of Hikes Lane and Taylorsville Road as the focal point for the mural design. 5 panels depicting local history from settlement to present day are arranged clockwise around this visual anchor, representing the passage of time. Each historical panel focuses on a different period of Hikes Point history: the 1790s settlement of the area, the 1800s era of farms and families, the rapid development of suburban landscapes and diverse populations in the 20th century, and the faces of today's local school children. For more information about the artistic and historical details of this mural, or to explore paint projects and public art in Metro Louisville, contact Center for Neighborhoods or visit the Louisville Metro's Commission on Public Art website. So I'd like to officially present this to Liz Richter and Councilman Kevin Kramer.